Hey there, Tim from Alpha Wolf Trading, wanting to thank you for stopping by to watch this interview and also make it clear to you that this is not a paid-for promotion. I collect no compensation for the interviews I do here. These companies have been identified as opportunities for investment that could provide an above average return on our investment. This is our opportunity to get to know management, to understand the vision for the company, the strategy they plan to implement, and execute to achieve that vision for the company. So if you learn anything here today and you enjoy the interview, please do us a favor and subscribe to the Alpha Wolf Trading YouTube channel. Hey everybody, Tim from Alpha Wolf Trading coming at you with another CEO interview. This is an exciting one. I've been following this company for a long time. Hasn't been the easiest path, but there have been some changes at the top. We got a new CEO there, but definitely not new to the company. Ordan, maybe you can give us a little bit of a background on you and how you got involved with Supercom and when you took over the new role, and maybe you can give us an idea of your strategy and vision for the company and what you've been able to accomplish. How long you've been in the new role now?
Since February 2021.
Since February 2021. Okay.
Months. Yeah.
So first off, I want to thank you for coming in and doing the interview.
Thank you.
Right. But I think you've got an exciting story to tell, so I'm gonna go ahead and let you take it from here.
All right, great. Thanks for having me, and I'm happy to share a little bit about my story. And I'll start with myself, just so you guys understand the context. And I might be younger than some public company CEOs. Actually, my family was an entrepreneurship family. My father was an entrepreneur from a very young age, and then that led me into it. At the age of 15, we moved to Israel from Philadelphia. And at the time, I was eager to start studying computers and mathematics. I was really into it. And I skipped high school and went to the Technion, which is an engineering university in Israel. I did my computer engineering degree and graduated as the youngest in Israel at the time when I was 19 and was drafted into intelligence in the Israeli military. There I dealt with cybersecurity, data security, data intelligence, and other very sensitive and very exciting topics. Afterwards, I had launched my first startup when I was 21. It was in the social media space. We were actually competing with Facebook for a while until they became too big. And at 25, moved to New York for an MBA at Columbia University. Until then, my background was only in tech, and I got the other side, the finance and the managerial background I needed in order to do something that's a little bigger. We found this company, the family found this company, Supercom, when it was on the pink sheets back in 2010. I remember presenting it to the value investing program at Columbia Business School. It was a very small company and they were over leveraged. And the market cap was probably $5 million and the stock was around 10 cents. We presented it to enough investors in New York City where I was living at the time, such that we had over 300 investors. We were able to relist it to NASDAQ Capital Market in September of 2013. It was very exciting. I was 28 at the time to ring the bell and get the company back on track. Since then, it's been kind of a crazy roller coaster, as you would say. And sometimes I go to CEO conferences and meetings, and I just tell the story from the CEO or managerial perspective, and people are blown away. I won't get into all that today because that's, I think, a little too much for this video, but let's just say that it's been a very exciting path since then. And I can focus on whatever you'd like me to in order to drive the audience.
All right, so let's start. So the company is Supercom, and the ticker symbol is SPCB, right?
Yes.
And primarily, what is Supercom? What does Supercom do?
Historically, and when it was founded, the company was founded in 1988, very long time ago. We just had our 34th birthday. As you can imagine, most companies don't survive that long. And the average company life, I think, is 8 or 9 years. We're a tiny company, but we're very motivated to do our mission for the world. And historically, it was to help with governments to do biometric identification, passports, driver's licenses, ID cards. We would help usually developing countries around the world, mostly in Africa and South America. And that business was a good business for many years, but it was very difficult to compete with the large players in Germany, in France, and the US when you talk about printing documents, because scale is essential when you're printing millions and millions of documents. We were just a small company. So while we were doing well and we won very nice projects, they were always the most complicated, the most frothy, the most difficult projects in remote locations where the infrastructure is horrible. For example, in Ecuador, we helped them create their first unique database. They had 90 million identities in the country with only 15 million people that actually lived there. So each person had 6 identities in the government database, 1 in the tax department, 1 in the police department, 1 in the state department, 1 in the police, everything. So we helped them. We created a platform. We deduped all the identities. We enrolled everyone into the biometric identification platform. We issued biometric ID cards, and then everyone was able to be authenticated properly. Then the banks could give you credit properly. Then the police can give you fines properly, and so forth. That was the history of the company, and it was good for a while. And until 2014, 15, we helped investors and together with analysts and some really good analysts write the story and explain to the market and what we can do. The stock moved up to $12, $14, one of the fastest moving stocks at the time, and our market cap reached $240 million. It was nice, but because we were working with developing countries, because the revenues were very lumpy, at one time you would have $20 million, 1 year, the next year you have $2 million from the same project. And the collections were extremely difficult in some of these countries. We missed guidance. In 2015, our stock got crushed. We went into a whirlpool with various challenges with the investment community. We decided a strategic way to move from developing countries to developed countries with the same technology capabilities we have, because we have a very strong cyber technology team with other work with governments. We pivoted, as you would say, to tracking of offenders, which utilizes some of the similar technologies, but it works as a recurring revenue base, and it works in the US and in Europe. And that's where we are today. That's what shifted into this rapid growth pattern that we're seeing today.
All right. So when you say tracking of offenders, right, we're saying guys that are wearing the little ankle bracelets that are at a home arrest or house arrest, right? Is that what we're talking about here?
Yes and no. Historically, house arrest was take a big brick, the size of a few phones, and put it on someone's leg, taint him, mark him for the world that he's an offender, and when he comes out of prison, let him come out 6 months early, put this on him, and kind of help with probation to supervise him. That was it. There's just a heavy bracelet to charge the bracelet every day to the wall. So the person has to literally connect his leg to the wall every single day. Doesn't work, I promise you. It works sometimes, many times it doesn't work. We came at a more holistic view. We want to help. We have a mission to help the criminal justice industry, not just to earn a few dollars per day for putting some brick on someone. We did a holistic solution. First of all, our bracelet is the size of a phone. It's very a watch. It's lightweight, and it's the lightest in the industry. The battery runs for years. You never have to charge it because the sentences are up to 6 months on these programs. It communicates with a smartphone seamlessly, and then we can add a whole plethora of features. You can do video calls with the people. You can communicate with the people. The smartphones, they can actually track you when you're underground in the subway. They can track you when you're in buildings, 50-foot-story buildings, because it also works with the Wi-Fi networks that Google synchronizes with. We're able, and we'll talk about this more later, but in the beautiful, very much needed solution of domestic violence, as you were able to offer something that no one else can, because now we have a bracelet on the offender, but also the victim's phones, whether it's the wife, the children, the victim's phone now can read when the offender's coming close. So if the lady is at Walmart and the individual comes close to them, her phone will alert and the police will be alerted at the same time. It's dynamic tracking and distancing to help enforce dynamic restraining orders, something that was never possible till today, until technology was ready to do that. And we're very excited about it. We already won a project for domestic violence in Sweden. We just won another one for $33 million, which is mainly domestic violence. In Europe, it's the largest project this year in the space in Europe, and the largest project that we won in the past probably 10 years or so. It's mind-blowing, and we're very excited to be in the space where we are today.
All right, so let's highlight that. You took some of my thunder away from me, but that's okay, man. It's cool. You just got a $33 million, and how long is that contract for?
The majority of it is over 5 years.
Okay.
With 2 years extension of warranty and support. But unlike many of our projects where it's recurring revenues, where we receive everything per unit per day, here they actually want to buy the equipment, and they'll pay us recurring for the software and the maintenance and the services. And so that means it's front heavy. At the beginning, they buy a bunch of the equipment. They buy the bracelets. They want to buy up to 15,000 bracelets. That's 15,000 families that we can help protect from domestic violence with our technology. We have already scaled up our technology. During the pandemic, we scaled it up from being able to produce 1,000 units over 2 months to being able to produce 1,000 units a day. If you want to track people for COVID, and that's what we did during the pandemic for Israel and other countries, you have to scale up. So we scaled up, and luckily this opportunity came. This country never did it before. The political landscape is such that now they can do it. They want to do it extremely fast. It's going to be the fastest deployment we've ever done, and it's up to 15,000 units. So our largest project, we're very lucky to have won it. But we think it's not just luck. We have beforehand won 11 other projects at a national scale in Europe, where we beat the competitors, where we had a win rate of over 65%, where we alone were able to win more than all the other 9 players competing in Europe. And we think based on the success on that, we are where we are today.
Okay, so let's talk about, so how many RFPs are there right now that are outstanding?
That's a great question. There's always RFPs outstanding, small and big, but we are in a unique point in time that in Europe, in 2022, 2023, there are over 200 million opportunities for new projects that are coming out for bid in Europe.
$200 million worth.
What? Sorry?
$200 million worth.
$200 million. Yes. Actually, 200 million euro, but the dollar and euro are very close today. It might go up a little bit as the currency exchange rate changes. This is the first, it's roughly 5 or 6 large projects. It includes England, includes Belgium, includes France, includes Italy. You can imagine the largest populations in Europe have the largest monitoring tracking needs. There's a direct correlation between the number of people in the country and the number of people we need to track, usually. So this is the first one we won. It's 1 for 1. In the past,
so the 33 million that you just landed, that was the first one to come out.
That's the first one to be awarded. We're in the middle of processes, but they have to get to award. You can start after and get an award earlier. It all depends on the process of the government. But out of the 5, 6 big ones, and we have this in our presentation, it's beautiful. We show the ones that we won until now. You took out the ladder. We started Lithuania, $100,000, Latvia, up. Then you get to Czech Republic, up, Denmark, Finland, Sweden is $7 million. And then we have a few red bars that you go up and scale. And we don't name the countries to keep it vague for competitors. But the first red bar, $33 million. This one, we just got that awarded.
You know, so I got to tell you, man, this is about, because we've met a couple of times and you've been you're pretty reserved. You're kind of chill guy. I'm sensing some enthusiasm from you right now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when things are happening in such a fast, and it's hard to hold all the enthusiasm inside, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can't seem to wipe the smile off your face. You know what I mean? That you're like the cat that ate the canary.
I'll do my best.
No, that's great.
But
that's fantastic.
Read my smile.
So I really want to highlight on what you just said, and this is part of the reason why I love the story so much, because look, it's great to find companies that you can make money in, but to find companies that you can make money in that I think they're going to make a difference in the world and save lives, possibly, right? That to me is huge. And with this thing that you've got going on with this offender monitoring and domestic violence, and the fact that you can, let the potential victim know that this guy is like right around the corner so that you can get the hell out of there, right, is a big deal in my head, right?
It is Well, just thinking about it sometimes it gives me tingles. It's extremely revolutionary idea because no one else is doing that in the world. And we work in California for 30 years already with the company we acquired, and we have restraining orders all the time. And we have to put the address of the offender and the address of the victims. And it's usually the same exact address because people don't have any ability to track when they're close and far from each other. And I've been waiting for opportunities like this for much of my professional life. Even in 2010, when my first essay for application at Columbia Business School, it starts off in 2020. Company XYZ creates significant ROI for investors, but also monumental social impact for the world. And I ask, is that possible? My whole essay just goes into my belief that it certainly is. You decide where you direct your energy and motivation. You can direct it towards good things and bad things. If we're spending most of our days, we spend a lot of time working what we do. We might as well do it in something that we believe contributes to the world. And I think it all comes back. I think
right. And you and I actually had, when last time we spoke, it's not like you look at offenders as lost causes, if I remember correctly, right?
They're not.
It's not just a matter of helping the justice system, but you're looking at ways to help the offenders reacclimate to society too, right?
That's beautiful that you remember that. And we had an investor lunch yesterday where we talked about it for hours, and I was trying to get the concept across. Not everyone sees it, but I'll tell you how I see it at least, and how people at Supercom see it. The criminal justice system is broken today, right? What happens is in the U.S., almost 1% of the entire population is incarcerated, and 75% of those people that go to prison, when they leave, they recommit crimes and they go right back in. What actually happens in practice is someone does something bad, especially maybe a child, maybe they have mental illnesses, maybe they don't have the same framework growing up like everyone else, and it's not easy for them to make the right decision every single time. So one time or twice they make the wrong decision. That's all that needs for them to be ruined in society forever, because they make the wrong decision once. They go into prison for 10, 20 years. They're surrounded by people who have been making bad decisions for a very long time, but they become experts at how to, fool the system, how to steal, how to rob. The person comes out, even if they've had a revelation in their life and they want to come out and be a good person, do the right thing, they don't have the resources to do so. They are tainted, they're stamped, they can't get a job anywhere. They don't have any skills that are relevant for today's market, and they just get thrown out. After a year or two, they try their best, and they're likely to recommit crime. It's not their fault. It's very hard for them to succeed. We give the holistic solution. We're not just sending them out with the bracelet and telling them stay at home. We help them find a job. We know all the employers in California that are willing to employ ex-cons. We help them. We help new employers understand that these people are good people. They're just like you and me. They just had certain circumstances. Many have mental issues, and we help align them with the right medication, the right doctors. We are not doctors. We are not. We're just overlooking the process of healing, of rehabilitation into society. And for us,
now, you talk goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps, right? I'm getting goosebumps over here, right? I mean, this is what I'm talking about. It's more than just making a buck. It's really changing the world for people that need help, right?
Yes. And the only way we're going to grow the safety of our global community, unless we have some, unique technology or superheroes that can fight crime nonstop. You have 2 million supermen flying around, is to help the people heal and enter society healed, and then together, we can grow as a global community. So I very much believe in our mission. I have a sense that you're connected too, which I'd love to see. And our employees, a lot of them have been doing this for 20, 25 years, much longer than me. For them, this is what drives them in the morning when they go to sleep at night. Some of them are in California making, when they start, some of them are in California, they make less than they would make at other companies, but they feel so much more. And so it's beautiful to work with these people.
See, this is this deep kind of passion, right? This more meaningful mission in life, to me, is what really resonates, right? That, because how do you get that kind of commitment from employees unless they're passionate about something, right? They're just This is
they have
what they live, eat, and breathe, right?
a lot of our employees, especially the ones that are not in the technology fields, the ones who are actually doing the services, that are there every single day with the offenders. And when I first met them, and this, we went to the industry in 2016. When I first met them, I was blown away because you see small, young females and males working with giants, massive ex-cons, big, aggressive, tattoos all over their necks, all over their heads. In one second, they just blow them in the face, and they're not scared at all. Not scared. They said they're never going to do that to us because they understand that we're here to help them. They never do that, and they're very excited about what they do. They work with them, and a lot of the people in our company in California, the subsidiary, have actually had a history, whether themselves or in their family, with abuse, with addiction, with problems, and we give them a chance to work with us. And after we give them a chance, they see that they have an obligation to give other people a chance as well.
I mean, what more is there to say? You should win every contract. You should win every RFP, right? In my view, I mean, because it's much deeper than just monitoring somebody. This is, I mean, we've got one portion that nobody else does, and you're able to I notify somebody that could be in harm's way. That's massive, right? What's that worth? I mean, I don't know what that's worth. You save one life, what is that worth? That's worth a lot to me, right?
Yeah. Well, right now, this project alone is 15,000 families, and each have multiple lives. And we hope, earlier this year, and this has been a challenging time for us because last year when I came into the role and I talked to other people, our manager, and we decided we're going to scale up because we've been doing great things. And we're doing it in Lithuania and Latvia and Czech Republic, and they're very small. And we want to do more for the world. We want to touch more people. We want to touch more lives. We're not going to be able to do that unless we scale up our operations. So all of a sudden, we decided to invest more in R&D, invest more in sales. We never had a sales and marketing team. Invest more in operations and support. And what happens in the world at the same time? The market just crashes. So everyone's like, what is going on? You guys are increasing your operating expenses when your stock is declining and the whole market is going down. What is up with you guys? Stop it. I said, look, we cannot stop it because we're already got all the wheels in motion. We are preparing to win the largest projects in the world in this space. We have the technology. This is proven fact. Not just domestic violence, house arrest, GPS monitoring, one-piece solution, alcohol monitoring, inmate monitoring. For every single vector in the space, we have the top score in technology. It's very easy, and anyone can look at the 12-hour battery, 2-year battery. I mean, is that a hard comparison to make? The range, the connectivity, the features, the video calls. Our technology is amazing, and we want the world to have it. So we're okay. We invested in growth, and we took that risk, and we're lucky that the world saw it. We won this project. There was never even a project in this country. They never did electronic monitoring, ever. This is the first time they want to do it, and they came to us. They reached out to the world. They came to us as well. They saw our technology. We won. I was surprised. I was happy, right? It was before. There's other ones that we started before that are bigger than this. We thought to hear it first, but this came out, out of the blue, let's say. We're very excited to do this. And what's most exciting is that they want to start really fast. They want to start really, really fast. So in a very short period of time, we're going to be, helping families in this country. And I hope soon to have an announcement once we're completed with the contract phase and everything else, because we went for award. We did award and contract signing. There's a few technical steps they have to go through with the government, with the customer. Then we can announce a country. We can announce a little bit more color on what's going to happen with the revenue recognition because it is front loaded. And I think that will open the way to more projects like this around the world, which we're excited to do.
So let's talk about. I think last time we spoke, we talked about there's a lot of small, in each state there's a lot of small players that, kind of, and you've picked up, you've acquired a couple of smaller guys, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, and I look at you mentioned the current market conditions, and while it is, look, small microcap, it has not been fun for the last 15 months, right? I mean,
no,
it has not been a good ride. But I think one of the benefits to that happening is you have a lot of small companies that were thinking that they should be acquired by some multiple that was ridiculously stupid, to now they've had more of a reality check and are in a position to say, well, gee, maybe we're not worth that, and maybe we should consider, merging with somebody or being acquired by somebody that's in a better financial position than we are, right?
Yeah. Are you reading my mind right now? Yeah. I don't get you. Yeah, that's exactly what we're thinking. That's what we've been thinking. Every time people are upset that the stock is going down, I tell them focus on the other side of the coin, because we're acquiring companies as well. And when the companies go down in valuation, we can use that for our benefit. When we use leverage, we always use leverage. And then when the times are better, we replace that with equity. The strategy is quite simple and extremely effective. We've done it in 2016, and we've done it with other industries too. But my family's done this for years. In 2016, I did it for the first time in California. And the way it works is this. In the US, unlike in Europe, the market is very fragmented. Besides the states and the federal government, there's all these counties, and they each have their programs. There's talking about Sacramento, Marin County, San Mateo, Riverside. They don't have the technological experience to run these sophisticated electronic monitoring platforms. So what do? They outsource it. They outsource it to local providers. These are people with a mission, like Linda Connolly, it's the company we acquired in 2016. She was the founder. They have a mission in their life to help people through this industry of criminal justice. And they essentially aggregate a lot of different contracts for small counties. And then they bring in the technical resources to run these programs. They find all the technology, they run the technology, and it works great. It works great. Why? Because one, they have all the customers already. They've been working with them for 30 years. After we acquired LCA, we already won $25 million of new projects in California alone since we acquired them. So you're in the space, you're entrenched inside, and you have an easier way to win more contracts. That's one. Two, we believe that our technology is the best. We offer through LCA our technology together with all the rest of the technology in the industry to all the clients. Any client that comes to us for house arrest, for alcohol monitoring, say choose. And what do you think they choose? I won't even have to say it here, but they get to choose whatever they want, and our technology is there for them to choose. Now, beyond that, there's massive vertical integration and costs, because they're paying 10 to 20% of their margin every year just on equipment, just to rent equipment from our competitors. So they're getting weaker technology, they're paying more for it. All of a sudden, we acquire them, vertical integration. They buy from us directly. We have 70, 80% contribution margin on each bracelet. And so the 5% operating margin turns into 20% operating margin in a second. That's before you do anything else. That's just redirecting the purchasing. Beyond that, you integrate, because all these companies are quite the same, whether it's in California, whether it's Texas, Wisconsin, Mississippi, they all do the same thing. So you aggregate all the resources together, and you have a huge cost synergy impact there. So that is a strategy that we are employing. One of the parts of the strategy is that these companies usually acquired at less than 1 times revenues, 0.5 revenues, 0.3 revenues. Supercom, like any other technology provider with annual recurring revenues, trades at 3, 4, 5 times recurring revenues. You have a massive opportunity there on the valuation side. But we're in no rush, because as you see, we're winning projects on our own. This is just another strategy that we have along the side. We increase our corporate development team. Every person's doing like 100 different things like Supercom, but the same people that are working on the financial reporting and working on the financial planning are also right now analyzing other companies and their financial reports together with ours. So the strategy is in place, and we hope that will also complement our growth as we go forward.
So let me back up for 1 second, because I don't think I highlighted this very well. COVID, which was I think eye-opening for a lot of companies for a lot of different reasons. Even eye-opening to look at all the supply chain issues that we're having now, right? If you're a CEO of a company and you're not reevaluating your supply chain to maybe having some manufactured right here in the United States as opposed to having everything manufactured over in China, you probably shouldn't be CEO anymore, right? I mean, that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. So you look at what's happening, and COVID actually, I think, has been, good things and bad things happen from stuff. But there's always a good things that I think you could pull from something, learning experiences. And COVID actually was helped you guys in a lot of ways, right? Because you did start to go to monitoring patients, and you had to come out rapid deployment. I just want to go back to that. It helped you kind of focus on being able to increase deployment in a more rapid way.
Right. I think it was in one of the speeches, graduation, where I think the dean at business school would say that they taught us a lot of things in school, but the main thing that they taught us and they want us to do is to be able to when we see an opportunity that's out there, that we have the tools ready to jump on it. They don't know when the opportunity is going to come and how it's going to come, but when we see the opportunity, we have to jump on it with all our ability. So we saw COVID come and crushed us. I mean, the stock went down again, like 70-80%. Our operations in California got hurt significantly because all of a sudden people aren't committing as many crimes because everyone's sitting at home. We can't provide the services we typically do because we can't meet the offenders face to face. We can't help them get a job. We can't help them vocational training. We can't help them with the social guy. At first it was a disaster, but then we're looking at it, and I was just entering into the role, and I was thinking, this is just ridiculous. The whole world wants to track where people are, and we have a solution that tracks where people are. This is what we do. We've been doing this for a very long time. It's not easy to track where someone is. There's so many glitches and issues in the technology of location tracking, especially when you're talking about humans and privacy issues and freedom. And together with my team, we wrote a PR that just said, you know what, the world, we don't know who and what is going to listen, but we know how to help you. We put out a PR that just said, we have a solution for COVID, quarantine, compliance. That's what we can do. I want you guys to be aware of it. And the whole world responded. Of course, the stock moved. Countries from all over the world reached out to us. We went on the press and almost every news outlet in Israel to convince them that putting a bracelet on your leg for quarantine compliance is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. We call them freedom bracelets. You know why you call them freedom bracelets when there's a bracelet on your leg? Because the solution in Israel, until we launched ours, was that you had to go to a Corona hotel. You had to. Everyone that came into Israel during certain periods of time was sent to the Corona hotel against their will. Against their will. I saw people getting lifted into the sky by big, strong men and thrown into vehicles and sent. They were screaming. It's like, I can't describe to you what it feels like to see that. We came into the airport. We said, you guys are slow government. We understand. We're going to give you it for free. Take 100 units for free. Give it to whoever you want for free and watch what happens. And you know what happened? Every single person put the bracelet on. They went home. They were monitored. We had 100% accuracy. One person tried to cut the bracelet. We knew exactly where it was. We had our team send a motorcycle driver to their house. From the airport to their house. Before they arrived at the house, we're already there waiting. What are you doing cutting your bracelet? Do you want to go to the Corona hotel? Is that your preference? It was really, in that sense, perfect. But the nicest part about it is exactly what you said. No one could produce in our industry the amount of bracelets you need because you track offenders, a small part of the population. Now you have to track everyone who has COVID, and COVID is exploding. So Bibi Netanyahu, the prime minister at the time, and others said, we need more bracelets. They went on every news channel. We need more bracelets, tens of thousands of bracelets. No company could do that. We thought we couldn't do that either at the pace that they wanted. We ended up calling our friends, our family, our cousins, my girlfriend, people's brothers, sisters, everyone was there. And we were kind of just manufacturing bracelets at night. And we changed the production cycle from going through China and through other countries and waiting for months and months to doing everything with our own abilities through Israel, through our different relationships. And we're able to reach a production rate, which has never been seen in the industry before, 1,000 units per day. We told that within 15 days, we'll have 15,000 units. And that's what we did. Now, the project itself changed because of the politics. The government in Israel was reelected for the 5th time. They changed the policy. They decided they don't want to have Corona hotels, and they don't want to have quarantine compliance. They want anything. Big bummer for us, because we spent a lot of time and money on this. So we are planning to litigate and get some money back from that. But most importantly, we created something that's allowing us to win this project. And when they had this bid for $33 million, I can assure you that one of the factors of who the winner is going to be is how fast you can deliver the solution. And I'm pretty confident that our delivery rate was the fastest among all the players because of our experience in a completely different problem that we're trying to save in the world. The same thing that we did helps us here.
See, these are things that I think is important for people to see how challenges come up. How does leadership deal with that? I've always said that you can have a great product, a great service. If you don't have great leadership, then I think the odds are stacked against you. That's just the way I feel, right? I think you have to have great leadership. You have to have that determination, that passion to overcome the obstacles that are going to happen, because none of us know what tomorrow is going to bring, right?
Right.
And it's how you view it, and it's how you react to it, right? You, like you said, when it first started, it wasn't good. California was a nightmare, right? But you found a way to overcome and make it a positive, right? Make the company stronger. I mean, you're stronger today than you were then, right?
Much stronger. We all the capital raises that we did at the time, it was to entice the investors who were interested in this this temporary mission to also help COVID. And our technology, our support, the people we're able to bring to the company, the people. I mean, the company is all, it's not just leadership, it's the whole company. You can't bring the best people if they don't have a mission that they could feel attached to. We're able to bring people from Google, from Facebook, from Amazon, from large, massive companies. Why would they come to the tiny little Supercom? Right? Why would they come? It's in Tel Aviv. We're out in the middle of nowhere. They have amazing engineers there. We were able to bring top engineers from top units in the military, from top companies to come help us with this mission. And I think COVID was a big part of that.
And then you've got this mission that resonates with a lot of, like I said, more than just monitoring people. You want to help people. You want to help people on both ends of the spectrum. It's not just all about, it's all across the board. You really want to make people's lives better.
We have to. Everything we touch, everything we work on has to, at the end, benefit the person and the society. And, I think in Google, they say, don't be evil. We think you take one step further, right? And be good. I forget who quotes this, but the only way for evil to survive or succeed is for good people to do nothing. So, we want to do something. And it's a big mission. It's a big problem. We don't think we're going to single-handedly solve it. But every day that we work on it, I think we are progressing in the right direction.
All right, so let's hit a couple of facts. You've got prison occupancy. I know in the States is overcrowded, right? I mean, I know that's a fact, right? So you help there, right? Instead of having these things overflowing in poor living conditions, but you help fix that problem, right? Excessive costs, $80 billion annually in operating prisons.
If you go back up just 1 second to that previous slide, down a little bit with a prison overcrowding. Yeah, I can't see it from here, but I think at the bottom you have Denmark and Sweden. Is that what it says there?
At the bottom?
Yeah, so two countries at the bottom.
Let's see. You got Denmark at 104.
Yeah, we already won the project there. What is the other country after
that? Sweden,
we won
108.
We won the project there. Not only did we win the project, after we won the first national project, they gave us another national project in the police. And after we won those two, there's a third last one with some other company. They gave that. All of Sweden has moved over to Supercom. They're great. They're the first country in Europe to do electronic monitoring. They're really, really smart. After the other countries there are the ones that are up for bid now.
Oh, there's Belgium, 117. Belgium, they're the winner.
Belgium, Italy, those are the ones that are up for bid right now. You don't have to even listen to me. You can look right into the data. That is where the opportunities are. And we started winning some, and now we're working on others. But you can't have a prison with 117% overpopulated and try to get any sort of result. People are sleeping on top of each other. That creates more fights. That creates more issues. It's a really big problem. So yeah, prison overcrowding is one of the main drivers. Costs, another one. There's something beyond this slide that I want people to understand. The costs in the U.S. in 20. You want to save 90% of that, $72 billion. But let's think one step further. If someone is at prison, they can't do anything for society. Nothing. If they're at home, they're working. Especially in today's age, everything is online on this computer. They're sitting at home. They can work. They're producing to the GDP of society. They're talking to their children. They're talking to their partners. They're talking to other people. So the loss for people in prisons is not $72 billion. That's just a direct loss. The actual indirect loss is multiples of that, multiples and multiples and multiples of that. So if someone has a misdemeanor crime, he's in prison. He can't do anything. He could just as easily be at home. The technology works excellently. He could be at home. We will monitor. We'll do everything. Let him work. Let him contribute to society.
Right. He goes from being a cost to society to a contributor to society.
Exactly. Each one of the people in society needs to contribute. Doesn't make any sense unless someone is in a situation where he can't do it. If someone has severe mental conditions or medical conditions and he can't do anything, that makes sense. He's in the prison. If you can have this person work and generate, and we saw in COVID what happened when the world doesn't work. People, when the world doesn't work, everything shuts down. Everything is connected. The economy is connected in many different facets. So these people, instead of just doing nothing, they are doing something. And we have to make people understand.
So let's see, reducing that cost by over 90%, that would be something.
Yes.
All right. So our tech is a wide array of programs. You've got let's see, what all do we have here? We've got is that plug track? I'm going to have to pull this over here where I can read it. My eyes are too down. All right, so you got Pure Track, you've got Pure Beacon, Pure One, Pure Com, and Pure Tag. So you want to give me a real quick rundown of what each one of those things are?
Great, yeah, sure. So first of all, this is a technology that we developed. We spent over $30 million in the last years developing this with our R&D team. With the technology itself, we have a variety of programs that we offer. It's house arrest, GPS monitoring, alcohol monitoring. If someone has 2 DUIs in California, instead of prison, they could go on a bracelet that tracks the alcohol in their sweat. It's actually quite fun to look at it, but tracks the alcohol in your sweat. Have a few shots, you'll see it spike. And if 90 days they don't drink alcohol, then we release them from the program. They're able to drive again. We do the domestic violence, which we talked about before, which was the first ones to do it in that fashion. And inmate monitoring. In Sweden and many other countries, the inmates are allowed to go home on weekends. They're very liberal in that respect, and they have the same technology to track them in the facility and outside the facility. But if you go up for a second, I'll just show you the different components. Everything here is designed and developed by us proprietarily. The tag is the lightest tag in the industry. The battery runs for years instead of one day. The PureCom is the base station at home. It has a screen, so the person at home doesn't just have a brick hardware like an old modem. They can see where they need to be, what they need to do. They can call. The officer says, "Are you at home, my friend?" Because right now it shows that you're not at home. He says, "Yes, I am at home." In the old technology, call me. So the officer will call the person. The person redirect the call to his girlfriend's house or to some gang location, and they would answer the call, "Hey, I'm home, bye." Doesn't do that anymore because now you have biometrics on it. You use your fingerprint. Show me that you're home, my friend. Show me. The technology is there. The technology is there. No one's fooling us anymore with these things. So we put in every single feature and capability you could think of. And remember, our background is from intelligence and military. We've done some things that are a little bit above the technology necessary here. But we brought everything we know to this. We put it into all our products. The one-piece bracelet below, you see that? That's actually a bracelet that doesn't use the phone. On the one bracelet we just launched this in the US, it's supposed to be substantial for us because in the US, even though we have the lightest bracelet, it communicates with a smartphone. Some judges are still not comfortable with using a smartphone. They say smartphone is a benefit. It's like, if I'm not giving these guys a gift. No, give them a bracelet, put it on their leg, and I want to know where they are at all times on the bracelet. Okay, you guys want the old bracelet? We'll give you the old bracelet. We'll give it to you in an advanced way. So we created the one-piece bracelet, it's called, like others have, but lightweight, small. People can hide it. You don't want to be tainted that you're an offender. You want to be back in society. You want to contribute. And the battery, why would you connect your leg to the wall every day? What is going on here? We have a mobile battery. You put it on your leg, and charge it like a human being. We're not animals, after all. So this technology that we developed ourselves is amazing, and that's what's helping us win. And if you go down, you'll see this. We invested in it. With this, we won over 65% win rate. You can see on the side some of the technological advantages. Your next-gen location tracking, the battery life, and more. And we keep updating because every project we win, we add another capability, another. It just keeps growing. It's like a tree, or like a sequoia plant. It just keeps growing and adding more and more features so that the next customer has everything all the rest of them have and more.
All right. So long-term government projects, you've got, let's go back to that number. It was 200 million that's out there in RFPs. You just won 33 million. you've always got opportunity for growth. You've got potential acquisition candidates that in this market climate could present themselves. Let's talk about how you're positioned right now from a, you had to do some capital raises. That has hurt the stock, but you have also explained why you did the capital raises, the R&D, the giving you that competitive edge, right?
The R&D, the support, the operations. We have to scale up in order to. If you're doing projects for $1 million, you can't do the same tier project for $32 million.
Right.
There's a cost for it.
So that's taking some short-term pain for hopefully long-term gain, right? And if you land, instead of having a 65% win rate, you have a, I don't know, 100% win rate. That would be worth that R&D spend.
Of course, even if you increase it by 2%,
it would be worth that cap raise, right?
Right. And just to cover, we had a win rate historically of 65%. Doesn't mean that we're going to have in the future a win rate of 65%. Investors all know this, but it does mean that we're doing something right and we're able to outperform all the other players with our technology.
Okay, so estimated to reach 1.6 billion in
2025. Yeah.
Okay. Which is a pretty big market, huh?
It's a large market. There's only 10 players. It's highly barriered. That's what's beautiful. Apple and Google and Amazon, they can't come into our playground. They can't. When you want to bid on something, you have to show that you've been doing it for 5 to 10 years. We had to buy our way in. We have the technology. We've been working with governments for 30 years. We still had to buy our way in through a small company and then integrate them step by step. We still had to start with the smallest, tiniest project in the world in Lithuania. And there's the ladder that I was talking about, the beautiful ladder. You see how we started on the left and now we're going slowly towards the right. And what will be the next country in red that we win? Who knows? But I'm excited to find out. And I hope
All right, so growth strategy, new investment in sales division, right? New VP of sales, sales managers, and industry expertise. What else we got? Shift from passive bidding to active outreach.
We were always passive. People would tell us there's an RFP in Denmark. They would give us the paperwork. We'd bid on it. We didn't even know anyone there, what they want, who they are. And we bid that way and we won, thanks to technology. But you said you want to grow the 65% towards 100%, right? So you can't just have technology. You also have to understand the people. And we brought industry veterans for a sales team. And now they're actually meeting and going to the customer, understanding what they want before there's an RFP. Understand the partners. And that makes us much more competitive, much more successful, and much more able to deliver our mission. So we did that in the US. The US, you have to have foot on the ground. It's fragmented. You have to be all around. And we're in the US going up from counties towards state, towards the Fed. And we're integrating acquisitions as well. Because once you acquire a company in Mississippi or in Florida, you're in Florida now. You can bid and win easily.
I got to tell you, man, just listening to you, I mean, when you first took over, I think it was rough, right? I think you were going through a bit of a rough time.
It was very rough. It was rough. We have our financial reporting was delayed for 3 or 4 years. We were, delinquent with reporting timelines. We had to change all that. We had a lot of old liabilities and debt. It took a good, 18 months now, 12 to 18 months to clean things up to the situation where we feel amazing that we clean things up, reporting on time every quarter. We have invested and took a risk, took a leap of faith, and it's proving out to be we're winning projects now. And you're not always sure, even though I knew it was the right thing to do, and I had to enter this role. I was the CEO in the U.S. for the past 9 years until I moved to Israel during the pandemic to take the global CEO role. Because my father, who was a CEO in Israel, was leading the operations for the biometric identification business, and that has become almost nothing. That's less than 10% of the business. So it's a natural shift. That business is phasing out. This business is starting, and I had to move over and take over the responsibility. But I tell you, to go into a company, to take on the CEO role, and I've been CEO in companies since the age of 21. It's 17 years already, but still, I'm relatively young. And take on the responsibility when you have so much debt and you have so much issues, so much history, and so many problems. It's not the easiest thing. It's not the easiest thing.
A little overwhelming.
Yeah. And I didn't want to come out and start promising everyone everything. I like to under-promise, over-deliver. So if I talk to you or anyone else, people would see I'm reserved because I am. And I try to be even today. You caught me on a good week. And the last few weeks with this project and everything that's going on, I feel amazing because the things we're doing are just, hopefully this can stay. This can stay, but it's better to be reserved. I believe it's better to under promise over deliver. People will see what they need to see. I don't need to promise the sky. They'll see it. There's no rush. I'm here for the long term.
I think once things start to change, right, that momentum starts to change. I don't think this goes away easily. I think if things start to build on itself, right? Things start to pick up. You get a big $33 million contract. I think that gets other countries to start looking at what it is that you're offering, right?
Of course.
Why did they get the 33 million? Oh, because they've got this. That's why, right?
This,
and I think that grows on itself.
They talk to each other. They talk to each other all the time, just like you talk to your friend. We won 3 new projects in Idaho in the last year, organically. They all talk to each other. You can't help it. If you do good work and you do good services, people are going to hear about it. Especially in a niche industry like this, $1.5 billion. Everybody knows each other. They go to the same conferences. They go together. They say, what happened? What did our buddies in Sweden do? What did our buddies in Czech Republic do? What did our buddies in Bulgaria do? No one's going to get mad at you now if you choose Supercom. But it was not the same a few years ago, I promise you. It was a big risk, and we're lucky that the government officials that chosen us took that risk. They felt that's the right direction, and I think we're happy.
All right, so $1.6 billion market. You've got over 65% win rate in Europe. 200 million upcoming Europe bid opportunities, 25 million in past wins in California, expansion into USA with new investment in sales, 30 million in R&D for strong competitive edge. You got 83% recurring revenues, which I love recurring revenue models. Why? Because they're very predictable, right? 50 plus project wins and 13% insider ownership.
Yes, and that's actually, all of those are very important, but I'll start with the last one, insider ownership. And we have been, for the last 10 years, I've been working with all these micro-cap banks and trying to do deals. And the kind of deals that we're offered sometimes are just atrocious, And I said, what do you care? What do you care? Get the money. You're working. Get the money. I said, no, we are the largest shareholder. Well, you can get the money. Get the money in what? And hurt ourselves? We are aligned with shareholders 100%. We want to grow the value of the equity. We keep trying to do the right thing in terms of equity and debt finances. We raised a lot of debt, which some might say is risky, and we wanted to preserve the value of the equity. And we have an amazing relationship with our creditors. We have 2 creditors. We have a good relationship with them. We're honest. We're transparent. We worked with them for years, and we're able to hold that amount of debt and still feel comfortable with our operations going forward. So the insider ownership is very important. The 50 projects, when the government thinks move slow. It's very hard to start into a brand new industry and win 50 new projects within 4 or 5 years. Really, really important things. And 83% recurring revenues is the base, so that when we win this project of 30, when we launch project 33 million, it goes on top of our base, and then more, and then more, and then more. That's the only way to grow. We hope that we can grow the revenues by multiples of where we are today within a few years, just because of the recurring revenue nature and the collectability nature. Which we don't talk about because we think it's obvious, but it's not. In Africa, we had over $10 million of revenue of IR that's hard to collect. We had to write off a lot of it. Here in the US and Europe, it's beautiful. Money comes in, everything's smooth. You don't need to worry about that because right now you're working with governments that live up to their word and have the financial abilities to actually implement these projects.
All right. So look, we talked about more, we've talked about what I believe is more important with the company. And I'm going to move your logo out of the way for a minute. I'm going to move my logo and your logo out of the way so that we can take a good look at the chart. Okay. And, look, I think I told you, I'm a fundamental guy first, right? And then technical guy. I didn't believe in technicals. I thought they were voodoo. It didn't really make any sense to me how looking at a chart was going to tell me where something's going. Right. But, as I look at Supercom, and look, it's not a pretty chart. I mean, that's the facts, right? I mean, anybody can look at that chart and say, okay, it goes from the upper left to the lower right. Right. But what I can say is this: you are in a very interesting area in terms of potential price support. And everything really comes down to support and resistance. The stocks have memory. They have price memory. It's just crazy. it's kind of spooky how accurate these technicals can be, right?
Oh, wow.
And what I'm noticing is you are definitely getting a lot more volume spikes. It's thinly traded stock. How many shares do we have fully diluted outstanding?
Probably, if you take also the warrants, we have 5.5 million warrants outstanding, you're probably close to 48 million. Without
40
the warrants,
million?
42 million without the warrants and roughly 48 with the warrants.
48 million. So 48 million
Yeah.
is nothing. That is anything under 100 million I consider to be a very small float, or that's a small amount of shares outstanding. That if it's under 100 million, that's nothing. So 48 million for the kind of contracts that you're looking at potentially landing, that's pretty. It wouldn't take a whole lot, for it wouldn't take a very big announcement to send this stock on a pretty good run. And if you look at this thing, it's done it many times, right? It's not like it hasn't had big runs before, because it has, right? You've had runs up to $3, up to.
We announced the project in Israel, 2021, $9 million project. The stock went up to $2.90. But it's all what happens with investors. And we just like now, we had some investors who had a lot of shares. So we did 2 deals, and then we announced this big deal. And I'm assuming these investors sold their shares. So now when they got out, because we have announcements, we have tens of millions of shares traded, and it replaces investors that want to get out. And then you kind of clean things up. And you have support. So we just had a big cleanup. We have good support. I'm not a technical guy. I'm not an investor. I told you about my background, much more from engineering, mathematics, technical, and finance, but not technical investing. I hear from many investors that the chart is about to explode. Technicals are about to explode. That's what I hear, and I hope that's right. But people who look at the charts alone and the revenues alone are missing one thing. The revenues were $30 million. They went down to $12 million. It looks like the company was declining, but that's not what actually happened. You had 2 companies. You had the legacy business. It went from $30 million down to $1 million. You had another business, offender tracking, what I've been talking about this whole time. That went from 0 to close to $10 million. That is growing. That is flying. That is 50 new projects in the last few years. So you have to focus on that. That is the trend you need to look at. You can't look at another trend that's shadowing the growth, and then you can't see the growth. So now people who listen, people who understand, there's a trend. It's working great. We just want a project. There's going to be more projects. We don't know when and how and what, but there will be more projects. And the technicals, hopefully, are there to support that.
And this is more meaningful to me. I mean, I think like I said, you're talking about, with your new products, saving lives. I mean, I don't know. To me, it's just much more meaningful than what you had prior, right? So the business that's declining in revenue, who gives a shit? I mean, I'm looking at where the future is going, right?
I love that.
And if you're protecting people's lives, I mean, that there is no comparison in between those 2 businesses, right?
Right.
So
the other one was more for fraud, people trying to steal money, and we're stopping them, which was good in an indirect way. But here we were directly protecting people from getting murdered, from getting rapes.
Yeah, that's a huge difference to me. So I'm just going to tell you, I'm looking at, from a technical standpoint, you came down, you hit this area right down here, which is, you kind of pierced it, this area of support, let's call it 25 cents, right? But you didn't stay there. You bounced right back up, right? So, and now if you it's not a clean chart, it's not super clean, but it's kind of consolidating right below the 200-day moving average, which the 200-day moving average is a big deal for technical guys, right? And if I'm looking at this thing and I'm saying, okay, if I just draw this little line here, that, I think when you break that 200-day moving average, and there happens to be some resistance right here at about 46 cents. So if you can break and close above 46 cents, 50 cents, I think then you start going.
Rocket ship.
Right?
Yeah, that's what
I think.
That's exactly what investors have been texting me. Like I said, full disclosure, I'm not a technical guy, but people have told me if you break one of the barriers around 40, mid 40s, then this can go to the moon. That's what they tell
See,
me. I'm happy you
I
think the same
actually
thing.
know what I'm talking about
Yeah,
when it comes
yeah,
to this
yeah.
technical stuff.
Very much, very much, very much so, very much so. Yeah.
But
But
yeah,
they told me this, but I didn't see the chart. Now at least you're showing me, you're teaching me, and I appreciate that. Why they're telling me that in the mid 40s is
and it's because of this right here. See this level acted as support, right? So it acted as support here, it acted as support there, and then when it broke, that support now becomes the ceiling, right? What was support now becomes resistance on the way up. And if you look at it, where are you having resistance? Right there, right? You just came up, you hit it, you didn't go through it. So now what happens is, hopefully, you just kind of consolidate a little bit here and build up some energy, is what I like to say. You build up some energy, and then once you get that energy built, that's when you break through. When you break through, it's usually a powerful break because it's been consolidating. It's like a coiled spring, right? You just keep compressing it until finally you let it go and boom, it breaks, right?
I'm with you. I feel the same thing.
So listen, man, I am really, really glad that you did this, that you came in. Personally, I look at everything from a risk reward ratio, right? So if this thing goes, what do I have to risk? I have, if I buy this thing in the 35 to 40 cent range, I've got to risk, 35 to 40 cents. And that's if you guys go to zero, bankrupt, you're out of business, right?
Very unlikely.
Do I think after you just got a $33 million contract, you're going out of business? I don't think so. How are you doing on cash? Are you going to have to do another cap raise?
At some point, we will do a cap raise or take debt. We have, at the end of the quarter, at the end of Q2, we have roughly $4 million in cash. We have two creditors, senior and subordinate, and we always have continuous access to the equity markets. I've been living in New York 10 years with all the investment banks and with a lot of investors, hundreds of them, able to develop good relationships. And they're always, reaching out, offering capital, but we don't have a reason to take capital until we need it. And this project at 33 million, what's nice about it is that you don't need financing for it because it's not a lease, it's a purchase. They have to pay for it. They want to buy, let's say, 2,000 units. Here's the money for 2,000 units. Go produce the units. Right? Whereas when you have a lease, then you have to produce all the units and you lease it out over the 5 years and you get the money slowly, higher margins, of course, but more financing. So here, this project can help us from a cash perspective. And when we do go out to raise capital, we think that the stock will be at a better price. We hope.
Right. You wouldn't want to go out and raise capital at 35 cents a share.
No, we certainly would not want to. we don't control the stock price. When things are extreme, it's very extreme, and we've done this in the past. My family puts money into the company at zero interest. We put up to $4 million in the past. The company, we believe in it so much that even when everything looked bad, right, things were very difficult, we put our own money with zero interest into the company. I risked my own money. There was points where I had, embarrassed to say this, but a very low amount of money left in my bank account because I took all my capital and I lent it to the company. Others did it as well. We believed in it. Right now things are better, but if they get bad again, we have the cushion to support the league. But we don't think I personally don't think it's going to be bad. I think it's going to be good.
All right. Well, I look at it like this. Look, I'm not telling anybody to buy the stock. That's not what I do. I mean, all I do is try to present the due diligence, the opportunity that is there. People either going to recognize it or they're not. If you don't want to buy the stock, don't want to take a starter position here, that's fine. All I'm recommending to anybody is put this thing on your watch list. I think you guys are doing great things. I think you're gonna change the face of an entire industry, and I think you're gonna help a lot of people. And I think that's more important than anything, right? And if you can benefit along the way by getting into a good investment opportunity that pays you back an above average return on your investment, why not? Right?
Amazing. So, amazing. Back in 2012 to 14, our investors made 3,000%. Yeah, it's possible. I'm not saying it's going to happen today. And just like you, I can't tell people to buy the stock. They need to be responsible. But I'm happy that you're there to share the story and help me, get the story out there. I think it's important that people listen to it, and I really appreciate the opportunity to do that with you.
No, hey man, it was great. It was fantastic. What I want to do is I'd like to do a follow-up at some point, maybe if you get one of those big fat contracts, we'll come back and do a little follow-up.
Come to Israel. We could do it. We could do it in Tel Aviv by the beach. Our offices are by the beach. You could feel the Mediterranean as we talk. That's where I live now. But otherwise, we could also do it in New York or California or any other place where that's what typically gather.
Okay, man. Do you feel as though I missed anything? Is there anything I didn't cover for you?
I think you did a great job. I don't have anything right now coming to mind, man. But if there is, we'll cover them. We'll cover them in the next one.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna shut this off, and I look forward to having you back, man.
Great. Thanks a lot, Tim. Thank you, everyone listening. And
hey there, all you stock market junkies. Thanks for tuning in to yet another CEO interview here at Alpha Wolf Trading. Today we had Supercom, ticker symbol SPCB. We had Ordan Trabelsi, CEO. I hope you enjoyed today's interview, and if you did, do us a favor, give us a like. Why not give us a share? And while you're at it, how about giving us a follow? Until next time, stay safe. Alpha Wolf Trading wishes you the very best of success.